Good morning, grade 6s. This is a review of days 83 and day 84. I'm going over all the answers with you so you can know. Hopefully you've handed in this work at this point, because if you haven't, it will count as 0. Okay, so very briefly, these ones here, I showed you a video on how to find these angles if you did not have a protractor at home. So hopefully you were able to do this. We've got chocolate at 85 degrees. That's an 8. We've got oatmeal at 40 degrees, chocolate chip at 160 degrees, and peanut butter are at 75 degrees, okay? So obviously most of the cookies are chocolate chip cookies. That's pretty self-evident. The number of chocolate chip cookies is how many times the number of oatmeal cookies, okay? So what we do is we look at the size of the chocolate chip, okay, and we look at the size of the oatmeal and we think, how many times can I put that inside there? And I look at that and I figure it looks like it'd probably go in about 4 times, okay, because that's, and if you look at the numbers, you can see that that's actually true. Okay, so if I take a guess and I think 4 makes sense, but then I actually look at my numbers and I have 160, which is my chocolate chip cookies, and I have 40, which is my oatmeal cookies, and I can just divide those by each other, and that actually gives me the number 4. So it's actually exactly right. 4 is right. I can tell just by kind of looking at it, but then I also have math that proves it. And whenever I have math that proves it, that's way better. Okay? The total number of blank cookies and blank cookies is about the same number as the chocolate chip cookies. Okay, so again, chocolate chip is 140. So which two numbers can I add together to get 140? Sorry, 160, not 140, my bad. All right, and I look at those and I can see that, well, chocolate and peanut butter. So chocolate is 85, peanut butter is 75. If I add those two together, I get 160, which is exactly the same. So we want chocolate and peanut butter. Those add up to the same number as chocolate chip. About what fraction of the cookies are chocolate cookies? Chocolate cookies. So we're looking at this fraction right here. And that looks like, if I just divided it into pieces like that, that's a 1/4. That's really simple. Okay? Ivy does not make any oatmeal cookies and makes more peanut butter cookies. All right, so I'm just going to erase some of my lines on here so we don't get confused by them. All right, so she doesn't make oatmeal, no oatmeal, but she makes more peanut butter cookies instead. Do you think the most cookies would be peanut butter cookies? Why? Okay, so what we're doing is we're adding this bit to that bit. And the question is when we add those two together, are we going to get as much as the other? Well, let's try it out. So peanut butter is 75 and oatmeal is 40. If I add those two together, I get 115. But chocolate chip is 160 degrees. So no, I won't have the most peanut butter cookies because it's 114 degrees and chocolate chip is 160 degrees. See that? Okay. All right, so then I go down here to these ones here, and again, I have to measure and all of that. Now, I'm just going to tell you what I have here. So I've got red is 3/24, which is the same as 1/8, and it's 45 degrees. Oh, sorry, I wrote that in the wrong place. Let me actually do this in red. Okay, red. 45, 3/24, which is 1/8. Green is 30 degrees. 2/24, which is 1/12. I'm writing too big here. There we go. All right. Blue is 105 degrees. Yellow is 150 degrees. Pink is 30 degrees. Oh, I did more than I needed to there. Okay, so blue is 7/24. There's no simpler form of that. Yellow is 10/24. which is the same thing as 5/12, and pink is 2/24, which is the same thing as 1/12. Okay, all right, and then the next one here, we again go blue, red, green, yellow. There's no pink in this one. And my numbers are 100 degrees, 40 degrees, 80 degrees, and 140 degrees. And my fractions are 5/18, 2/18, which is the same as 1/9, 4/18, which is the same as 2/9, and 7/18, which is in simplest form already. Okay, so those are the numbers you should have had there. And if your degrees were slightly off, it doesn't actually make a big difference, but if your fractions were slightly off, it's a big problem. Okay, because you should have just been able to count for these. There's no reason that you would have any trouble with this, just count it out. Okay, so which box contains more red beads? Okay, well, when we look at this, we can see that this has a 45-degree angle, this has a 40-degree angle. It's probably better. Box A has more red. Okay, which box has more yellow beads? It's also box A. Okay, and again, you can see degrees, that makes sense. It also has to do with the fractions. Which box has fewer blue beads? And this one is B. Okay, again, we can see that from our degrees.